Okay, let's jump right in. Here are 6 dark truths about cow's milk that Big Dairy really doesn't want you to know. Number 6, more than half of humanity was never designed to drink milk. Yeah, seriously, according to updated research from the U.S. National Library of Medicine in 2025, around 57% of the world's population is affected by lactose intolerance. In plain English, that means their bodies don't make enough of an enzyme called lactase, the stuff that breaks down lactose, the sugar found in milk and dairy products. So, when these people drink milk, their digestive system basically throws a tantrum. Symptoms like bloating, stomach cramps, diarrhea, gas, and that very lovely post-dairy soundtrack. Now here's the kicker. Southeast Asia has the highest rates of lactose intolerance in the world, between 85 and 98%. Even in Vietnam, one study found 86.3% of people couldn't properly digest milk. Sure, that study only had 53 participants, so maybe don't tattoo that number on your arm just yet. But still, it's telling. And yet, people everywhere are drinking milk every single day, totally fine. How? Well, not all lactose intolerant people actually feel the symptoms. Some bodies just deal with it. So technically, they're not lactose intolerant, they're just lactose malabsorbers, meaning their digestion is meh, but not dramatic. This isn't a disease, it's completely natural. In fact, it's how most mammals are supposed to function. All milk, human, cow, goat, contains lactose. And to digest it, your body needs that enzyme lactase, which is produced by a gene called LCT. When we're babies, we all make a lot of lactase to handle breast milk. But after we're weaned, the LCT gene starts to shut down because adult mammals simply don't need milk anymore. That's why most animals, and most humans throughout history, can't digest milk as adults. We were never built to do it. So, why can some people drink milk just fine? Well, that's where evolution pulls a plot twist. Number 5. Humans are the only mammals that drink milk after weaning. No other animal in nature does that? None. And early humans didn't either. Archaeologists found evidence from Mesopotamia, the Middle East, and the Balkans showing that ancient humans were processing milk, turning it into cheese, yogurt, or butter as far back as 9,000 years ago. They weren't drinking it raw, they were fermenting it, which broke down most of the lactose and made it digestible. But about 7,500 years ago, something wild happened. A genetic mutation appeared among some European herding communities that kept the LCT gene switched on for life. That meant they could keep producing lactase and digest milk, even as adults. Basically, evolution hit unlock dairy DLC. People with that mutation could drink fresh milk without getting sick. And since milk was rich in fat, protein, and calcium, that gave them a survival advantage during famines and harsh winters. So those genes spread rapidly through Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Africa. It's one of the clearest examples of human genetic evolution we've ever discovered. In fact, it happened independently in multiple regions, meaning humans hacked the same gene in different parts of the world, all for the same reason: milk. Still, around 57% of the world's population today doesn't have that mutation. They're not dairy-friendly by design. Number 4, milk isn't the savior of your bones. If you think of calcium, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Yeah, milk. That's the result of decades of brilliant marketing by the dairy industry, convincing the world that milk is the ultimate superfood for bone health and growth. But the science? It's not that simple. A massive Swedish study tracked over 61,000 women for 20 years and 45,000 men for over a decade. They found that women who drank 3 or more glasses of milk per day had a 93% higher risk of death and a 60% higher risk of hip fractures compared to those who drank less than 1 glass a day. Even after adjusting for factors like age, BMI, smoking, and exercise, the link stayed strong. Men didn't show as strong a pattern, but still, more milk meant a slightly higher risk of death. And this isn't an isolated study. A meta-analysis of dozens of other papers found no clear benefit of milk in reducing bone fractures. And in some cases, even the opposite. So, what's going on? First, calcium doesn't work solo. To actually build strong bones, your body needs a team of nutrients: vitamin D, K2, C, zinc, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, and copper. Without that full squad, calcium can't do its job properly. Second, milk is full of animal protein, which creates a slightly acidic environment in the body. To neutralize that acid, your body actually pulls calcium from your bones to balance it out. So, you drink milk for calcium, but your body might end up taking calcium from your bones to process it. That's not a great deal. To be clear, these are observational studies, not proof that milk causes fractures or early death. There could be reverse causation. Maybe people who already had bone problems were drinking more milk. Still, it raises a pretty big question. Has milk been overrated this whole time? Because there are tons of calcium-rich foods that are cleaner and healthier, like kale, broccoli, tofu, almonds, shrimp, or small fish. No hormones, no saturated fats, no marketing drama. And the calcium from greens is often more bioavailable for adults than from milk. So, yeah, maybe variety really is the key. Number 3, the hormone controversy. This one's messy and still heavily debated. In industrial dairy farming, cows are often injected with growth hormones like BGH, RBGH, or BST to boost milk production. Most government agencies claim it's safe, that these hormones get digested and never make it into your bloodstream. But critics aren't so sure. Multiple studies show that regular milk drinkers tend to have higher levels of a hormone called IGF-1 in their blood. Insulin-like growth factor binds 1. It's crucial for growth, muscle development, and cell repair. But when it's elevated too much, it can also accelerate the growth of cancer cells. The most visible side effect? Acne. Several studies link milk, especially skim milk, with higher rates of acne in teens and adults. But the real concern is cancer. A 2022 study from Oxford University, Peking University, and the Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences followed over 510,000 participants in China. They found that higher dairy consumption was linked with a 12% increased risk of liver cancer and a 17% increased risk of breast cancer. Now, correlation doesn't mean causation, but the biological mechanism makes sense. IGF-1 can trigger rapid cell division, and estrogen or progesterone in cow's milk might also contribute to tumor growth. Add in the saturated and trans fats in dairy, and the risk picture gets murkier. So no, milk isn't toxic, but maybe it's not as harmless as we like to think either. When you drink a glass of milk, you're not just drinking calcium and protein. You're also taking in a cocktail of biological signals designed to grow a baby cow, not a human adult. Number 2, the brutal reality of the dairy industry. Those happy cartoon cows on milk cartons? Yeah, that's not real life. In most industrial farms, dairy cows live through a constant cycle of forced pregnancy and milk extraction. Just like humans, cows only produce milk after giving birth. So, to keep milk flowing, they're artificially inseminated almost every year. After about 9 months of pregnancy, the calf is born, and within days, it's taken away so humans can collect the milk. Investigators and animal welfare groups have recorded cows crying for hours, even days, after being separated from their calves. Female calves are raised to replace their mothers, while most male calves, since they can't produce milk, are sold for veal or killed soon after birth. The constant milking often leads to mastitis, painful infections of the udder, which means pus cells in the milk. There are legal limits for how much pus milk can contain, but yes, there's always some. To control infection, farms rely heavily on antibiotics, which can end up as residues in the milk supply. A cow's natural lifespan is 20-25 years. But in industrial systems, most are slaughtered by age 6, their bodies worn out from non-stop pregnancies and milk extraction. It's the hidden cost of every glass of milk. Number 1, the planet is paying the price. Let's talk about the environment. Cows are methane factories. Every burp, every pile of manure releases methane, a greenhouse gas that traps up to 80 times more heat than CO2 in the short term. The global dairy industry is one of the biggest sources of methane emissions, contributing massively to climate change. Then there's land use. It takes enormous amounts of land to grow feed for dairy cows, leading to deforestation and habitat destruction. Water use? Even worse, producing just 1 liter of milk requires hundreds of gallons of water for the cow to drink and to grow its feed crops. And because of the heavy use of pesticides, fertilizers, and manure, dairy runoff pollutes rivers and oceans with nitrogen and phosphorus, creating dead zones where nothing can survive. Add antibiotics and hormones to that mix, and you've got a global cocktail of environmental stress, all for something most adults don't even need to drink. So yeah, the dairy industry is complicated. Not every farm is cruel, not every study is conclusive. But one thing's for sure, the story we've been told about milk being nature's perfect food, that's up for debate. If any of this sounded new or maybe a little uncomfortable, good. It means we're asking questions that matter. So, what do you think? Is milk still worth it? Or is it time we outgrew the glass?